Hey everybody. So this is a special video, a different one than what I normally do, since there's some breaking news coming out of CES today that's relevant to home arcade retro gaming stuff. If you want to see more of this content like this, let me know in the comments. And give this video a like if you want more of it. But I just want to be quick here and kind of go over this announcement. This is from Iconic Arcade and Media1Up. So a arcade 1-up competitor, but they just announced two new licensed home arcade systems. These are a lot bigger than regular arcade 1-ups. It's about 67 inches tall, I believe. The double XL arcade machines, and these have a 19-inch display, and they're powered by a Raspberry Pi 5. And it's licensed stuff, so this was exciting to see what Media1Up was going to do. They've partnered with Iconic Arcade to release these, and they got the license from Capcom. So we're getting two cabinets, one Street Fighter Alpha 2 cabinet and a regular old school original Street Fighter 2 cabinet, which is pretty cool. And they do have multiple games on it besides Street Fighter, but we'll go into that. This is going to be They're up for pre-order now, and they're $6.99. I think it's $7.99 normally, but they have like $100 markdown on it. So got the speakers there. That looks pretty cool. Like size-wise, everything seems pretty cool on it. It's kind of a bummer to me that it's just Street Fighter. Like, I'm not a fan of the Street Fighter 2 Alpha cabinet, but I never played Street Fighter 2 Alpha, really. I stuck with regular Street Fighter 2 and then Championship Edition when I played it in the arcade. But you have the two different versions here that you can choose from, and they do have multiple games on it. So we're going to take a look at the Street Fighter 2 cabinet. I know a lot of people probably be like, well, that's kind of boring, Street Fighter 2, but it's one of those things, there's a reason Arcade 1-Up has like Pac-Man everything, and there's a reason that this is going to be Street Fighter 2, because that's going to sell. Those are like two of the best-selling arcade cabinets of all time, and when people are putting together a home arcade, those are the things they're going to want, and things like Golden Tee or just so that's why, like, for the hardcores of us, no, we're not likely to get something really cool and different, because you got to sell to the masses, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's $6.99, or you can do a $350 down payment on it. If we scroll down here, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Officially powered by Raspberry Pi 5 hardware. So that's, I run my system on a Pi 4. Raspberry Pi 4B, and it works great, and it handles that stuff great. But it's clear looking at, okay, if you're putting a Raspberry Pi 5 in to power everything, and you've got this cabinet, and it's probably not, going to be the most heavy duty one. I know Glenn's Retro Show at T-Sticks announced their home arcade cabinet, which is probably going to cost a pretty penny. I haven't looked into too many details about that, but it's that is going to be awesome, and more in line for what I would want at home. It's huge, it's heavy duty. This is like, going in your game room, and meant to be a little cheaper. So it's probably, while it's bigger, it's got like the fake coin door on it, which is kind of cool. But I'm not expecting it to be that much different than like what you would get from an Arcade1Up XL. Aside from bigger, hopefully they did a better job with the buttons on it. But here we have the games that come with it. And this is where, so like with the Raspberry Pi 5, okay, if they're using like, it looks a little thinner. I mean, I think these are renderings versus like the actual product. I haven't seen the actual thing in person, but I'd imagine, okay, it's going to be shipping. You want to keep costs down and everything to make this possible. That it's going to be a bit lighter weight, since they are going for a mass market kind of thing, while still trying to give us more of a full size kind of arcade experience. And so I don't know that it's going to be the sturdiest, but clearly with what it's being powered by and everything, I think most of the cost of this is going to the Capcom licensing. And 14 games. Oh, awesome. Let's see what 14 games. It's Capcom too. So, Capcom has an amazing library of arcade games. Let's see what we can get. I'm here. I was hoping that maybe there would be like, Aliens versus Predator in there, which was on like the Capcom home arcade system console thing that they released a while back. You could still get it. It's like $400 for basically a control panel that plugs into your TV that shaped like the Capcom logo. But when we look at the games, okay, you have Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. Okay, great. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2, whatever that is. I'm not sure. Like all of the Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Third Strike, Street Fighter 3. So it's 14 games, but they're basically all Street Fighter 2s. And so if you're like a hardcore Street Fighter fan and you don't have those and you want like a dedicated cab for it, this seems like it would be maybe a better deal than a Street Fighter 2 Arcade1Up, especially if you want like the Alpha series and all of that. I think that the Arcade1Up has a better lineup of games on it personally, just from my taste. But then you have Knights of the Round, which I haven't played, but people say good things about it. Okay, 1944, that seems to be a staple on every Capcom release. It's like it's an older one. It's a shooter. It's pretty basic. They're just throwing it in everything. Otherwise, they're not going to be doing anything with it. Final Fight, which that's awesome. You get the best beat 'em up game of all time in there. Pro, I haven't heard of that one. And Giga Wing 2. So as far as the games go, I think it's kind of lacking. I'm not too sold on those. I do think the cabinet looks cool. If you're into that sort of thing, I don't necessarily want a dedicated Street Fighter cabinet, me personally, but if I was going to get one, that would be a good one. I would prefer it be Championship Edition, but then you could get the Arcade1Up for that. But if you want like the full size, I mean, there is something cool about like the original Street Fighter 2 cabinet. That here we have the Alpha 2 version. And, I like the control panel on there. Here we have the games again showing the size 28 inches deep, 23 inches wide, 67 inches high. Oh, good size on that. And yeah, that's about it. So normally these are going to run $800. Pre-order, shipping in June. Yeah, ship date June 6th. And you could put a down payment on it or a full payment. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that. Like just mainly because of the game selection, like, and the secondary art for Alpha. I'm not. Bleh. I don't care. It's kind of boring. I was hoping that it'd be something a little lower price, considering like how Arcade1Up's prices have gone up. That they would go try to do something more on like that lower end of things, but I guess not. Yeah, everything is going to be around $500 to $700 now for a home arcade cabinet. It looks like. But then, it's funny, like it goes to order from this VMI Innovations site. And then down here you have, you can compare it to the Arcade1Up Street Fighter 2. This is their deluxe at 5 foot, so it's going to be smart. But let's take a look at this, and when we take a look at the game, all right, 61 inches versus 67. But then, all right, you also get 14 games on it. So you're getting Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. Getting, what we got here? The King of Dragons. Never played that. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, also on the other one. That was one I couldn't read on the other graphic. Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But then, and this is where I give the Arcade1Up a huge edge. Because you're getting Strider, you're getting you're getting the classic Capcom games. Battle Circuit, haven't played that one either. You still get Gigawing. You get Saturday Night Slam Masters, which is awesome. Captain Commando, very underrated game. You still get Final Fight. You get Armored Warriors, which is an awesome game, and awesome mech beat 'em up, and the Capcom Sports Club. Haven't played that. I'm not sure what's in there. I'll have to check that out. But, it's like, if you ask me, I'm like, all right, that's marked down. I mean, I'm not sure how available these are going to be. But I would much rather get this because, like, you could pay $700 basically, not shipping until June, or you can pay $500 and get it in a few days if you really want that. And I think maybe for a lot of the home market, if you want a dedicated Street Fighter kind of thing, then what are you gonna do? Like go with the price. And they even have like, okay, used one. I don't care, whatever about that. But here's an open box one. $387. You can get it right away. So wait until June. I mean, if that 5 inches is that big of a deal, with unknown quality. I know that people have issues with Arcade1Ups, but it's the market they're for. It's definitely more casual. And I was skeptical of Arcade1Up when it came out because I didn't like the 3/4 size thing. I wanted like a full size thing. So I wasn't on that bandwagon at first until I got, I ended up winning an NBA Jam countercade at my local arcade. and I got a Pac-Man Partycade from that. And the Partycade, oh my god, I love it. It's got 12 games on it, and like the buttons aren't the best, but the joystick is fine. And that sent me down this rabbit hole where then I get a regular Generation 1 project cabinet, that was all kind of hollowed out. And I took a Raspberry Pi 4, put it in there, and that's, how I'm making the game videos now, using that. Fairly cheap, and I get to customize it the way I want, I still got a long ways to go before I'm done on it and figuring things out, but I went down that rabbit hole. And I do have a Galaga Generation 1 Arcade 1-Up cabinet too, and I see the quality complaints on those Generation 1 cabinets from that until you start modding it. But the new ones definitely seem a lot better. But yeah, just looking at those, and this is why I'm like, oh wow, they actually sell Arcade 1-Ups on this site. And then seeing, you could actually get a Time Crisis cabinet still on there. Man, that's pretty cool. But again, it's definitely more of a niche thing versus the Street Fighter 2, which is just so massively popular that they have to do that. But yeah, the Raspberry 5, I don't know. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because I think Raspberry Pi 5 will be great for playing old games. For emulation, I'm sure it's going to run amazingly, and it's probably helping them keep the cost down. But if I'm putting a Raspberry Pi in a cabinet, what I'm gonna want to mod the hell out of that thing, and I'm gonna want to load it up with every game under the sun, and not just stick with the ones that they're giving me. And I'm definitely not going to want to pay $700 to do that. So that's a downside. But all right, HDMI out, so that's cool, allowing you to record or broadcast gameplay, so you don't have to cut a thing or do something weird like I did to get my capture card coming out of my modded cabinet from my Raspberry Pi. And then it also has something for online play too. So if you're into that, which that sounds cool, and that would definitely be fun with Street Fighter. So, but until see more, it's the game lineup really that I don't like in this. I don't know if it's worth it. I would want to wait and actually see it and hear some reports about how good are the buttons. Are they using high quality ones, or is it stuff that you're going to want to be swapping out? Same with the joysticks. Although for me, I mean, with a fighting game, yeah, that joystick's going to be super important, but me generally it's about the button feel for me. So are they using HAP or genuine Sanwa buttons or something, or just kind of the cheap ones that you can get? But that's the question for me. So I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in this, but let me know what you think. Are you excited for it? Is this something you want to check out? What do you think of me doing more videos like this only when there is news? I don't want to just talk about this stuff all the time. I'm focused on playing the games and showing you the gameplay and everything. That's what I love doing. But I am into the home arcade stuff. I am into modding them, and if something like super cool comes along, like this a dedicated one, I'm into. but yeah, like $700 for something with a Raspberry Pi in it, I could build my own for less that uses the same thing and would have that performance. And I think, you could probably go on Etsy, find a kit for the cabinet, and do everything yourself for, probably less than that, and have a Pi in it running a lot more games than the 14, which, like if it was solid quality, could, like I said, with the Pac-Man Partycade, I had the idea to mod it, and I liked what I did. I changed the buttons on it, left the joystick, but those buttons need change. But when I started like playing that, I'm like, I really, really like this. I thought it ran well. It had a good selection of games for what it did. I didn't need to like get a new control panel for a Partycade versus, if I'm doing like an actual project cabinet, then I want the bigger one. I want to do that, or I'm going to build my own for like a countertop thing. So if it had like the right games on there, but I'm sorry, like 14 games, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Street Fighter games out of the 14 games on there. And then, like when Capcom has such a fantastic library of other games that you could have. This is clearly, it's not for those of us that already have, cabinets. This is for people who are looking to maybe get that aren't super hardcore about it yet, but if they're like me, it's like you get a taste of doing something like swapping out the buttons, and then next thing you know, you're building your own frickin' retrocade thing. So oh, excuse me. But yeah, that's it for this. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you think about this kind of video. I'm not going to do it too often, only when there is actually something to talk about. If I keep doing it, I want the focus to be on games and things, but since this is of interest to me, and if you're watching my channel, then I think retro games are probably of interest to you too. So this may interest you, but let me know, leave a comment, and let me know what you think of all this, and take care, and we'll be back to regular content on Friday. Back to games. No more of this, unless something else comes up. So, okay, take care, everybody. Bye.